Crash investigators say the pilots of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 did everything right, but they couldn't pull their Boeing 737 MAX 8 out of what they called a persistent nosedive.
The crew performed all the procedures repeatedly provided by the manufacturer, but was not able to control the aircraft.
6 minutes after takeoff, the jet crashed, killing all 157 people on board. Authorities have cautioned Boeing to make sure it fixes the MAX 8's anti-stall system, which has been suggested as a cause of the disaster. The government says it's not ruling out other factors that could have contributed to the accident.
This investigation will proceed to the next 1 year or 6 years, 6 months, exactly, I don't know. It depends on how the complication of the investigation. But within this 1 year, let me say, we'll analyze whether other problems are existing on this aircraft.
Boeing has launched its own investigation and says it will review Ethiopia's preliminary crash report. The company's 737 MAX 8s were grounded worldwide after 2 of the planes crashed within 5 months of each other. On Wednesday, Boeing said it had successfully tested a software update of the anti-stall system. The fix is designed to loosen the program's control, making it easier for pilots to control or even override. CEO Dennis Muilenburg was on board the test flight, during which the crew tried various failure scenarios. Both Boeing and the Ethiopian government want the same outcome, that a disaster never happens again.
All in all, the major objective of this investigation is to make sure that there is safety in the aviation sector.
Analysts say the pressure now shifts to Boeing to release its findings and restore the public's faith in its 737 MAX 8 fleet. Laila Humairah, TRT World.
Well, for more on the story, let's bring in aviation consultant Heinrich Grossbongardt, who joins us from Hamburg. Welcome to Money Talks, Heinrich. So this report essentially rules out pilot error, saying that the Boeing jet plunged on its own. What do you think about this finding? Is it consistent with what we know so far?
It's really not. And what I find puzzling is that the Ethiopian authorities don't have released the interim report of the investigation, which would be standard international practice. What I find strange is that the pilots repeatedly tried to overrule the MCAS system. Usually, according to the rules, from my understanding, is that once it is cut off, it shouldn't be re-engaged again.
Interesting. Okay, so why then do you think perhaps the finding is inconsistent with what we know in terms of the disaster and how this aircraft works?
The problem right now is that, for example, we don't see the flight data recorder data, we don't see the cockpit voice recorder analysis. All these things which are really important to understand what's going on are withheld from the public by the Ethiopian authorities, and that is not in line with international practice of accident investigation.
Well, this preliminary report, as we know, didn't attribute blame for the crash, but it did suggest that Boeing review its aircraft control system that really has come under the spotlight, not only in this disaster, but the one in Indonesia as well. Do you share the concerns surrounding this anti-stall feature?
Yes, sure. There's no doubt that the MCAS anti-stall system has played a role in this accident, as it has in the Lion Air accident. But it's one factor in a chain of events, and it's really important to understand how everything worked together. Boeing is working on a new software version of the system, which will have some really fundamental changes. And we all can hope that it will be released within the next few weeks.
Yes, and Boeing today has actually told us more about this software fix. The company says that the new software will allow pilots to override the anti-stall system. I'm wondering, I guess it begs the question, why wasn't this feature enabled in the first place? And what do you think about Boeing's response so far, more generally?
Boeing's response with respect to updating the software is standard industry practice. They started with this process immediately after the Lion Air accident and after it became clear that the MCAS has a problem and was a contributing factor to this accident. And of course, it takes time to analyze the things and to develop a sound solution for this really crucial system. Communication-wise, in dealing in terms with the public, Boeing's response was very weak up to now, from my understanding. They haven't been open until recently, and that's sort of regrettable.
And what do you think about the response from aviation authorities around the world? As we know, in the wake of this Ethiopian crash, they moved to ground the 737 MAX fleet around the world. Do you think that was an overreaction, or was it an appropriate one?
No, it certainly was appropriate after the things we learned from the accident investigations in the first days. It is absolutely appropriate to ground the 737s and to have this MCAS system fixed.
Okay, and these two disasters, as we know, has shaken public confidence in this 737 MAX aircraft, which are still grounded as we go to where. Do you think Boeing will be able to recover from this and restore confidence among the flying public?
I think they will be able to restore confidence among the flying public. Just recently, Lufthansa said that they are interested in acquiring 737 MAX. The real problem Boeing is going to have is restoring the confidence and the trust with the certification authorities and in Europe as well as in the US. That is the real damage to the company's reputation.
Okay, another response to these disasters has been air carriers cancelling orders for the 737 MAX aircraft. Do you think that was the right move on their part as well?
Yeah, so far Garuda has cancelled the orders, but I think we won't see a huge wave of order cancellations because there is no real alternative. An airline which cancels a Boeing 737 order today will have to wait 6 or even 7 years to get an A320. So that is something nobody can afford.
Okay, Heinrich Grossbongardt, we will have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your insights.